Hello, everybody. Dr. Carmen Bryant, Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and Redefining Yourself, a program that was developed for women that were or in domestic violence situation, are contemplating leaving, or needing more information, or are recovering from domestic violence, but especially narcissist abuse. Hopefully you've been following me on YouTube and have been getting more information in reference to narcissist abuse and more information to help you making decisions on leaving a domestic violence situation. I apologize I did not have the opportunity to come on earlier to take the time to kind of study some topics and talk about a new topic. I do have some really great questions, especially the one about justifying or self-blame, which, most victims that are coming out of domestic violence, that's exactly the biggest problem that we have in the clinical setting, is when victims come in, they focus on themselves. I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I can't do anything, I'm not smart enough to do this, look at the decisions I've made, look what I've destroyed, and you're putting the blame in the wrong place. No one deserves to be abused. No one deserves to have someone else's will enforced on them. No one has the right to force you to think the way that they think. We are unique individuals with our own thoughts, our own mind, our own brain, and no one has the right to force you to think the way that they think, the way that they think. The thing is that narcissists will use torment, they will use torture, whatever they abuse. Verbal abuse, and remember we talked about the domestic violence and the power and control wheel. We talked about the different types of abuse. We even talked about the trauma bonds, how women are unable to leave relationships because they're addicted to the abuser. They have developed trauma bonds that prevents them from being able to leave the relationship, and they literally have almost like withdrawal symptoms leaving. That's how powerful it is when we're talking about the oxytocin and the dopamine, that creates those trauma bonds, and the narcissist knows what they're doing, but it is the biggest thing when people come into counseling. The hardest thing to do is to break that self-blame. I did this, I made a mistake, and the hardest thing is when you begin to realize what you've been through and you begin to look back. And it really just is like you hate the person that has did this to you, but then you look back and you blame yourself for staying. That's why I tell people, don't ask a woman, why do you stay? Because you're actually re-victimizing them. You're making them, you're making them feel even worse about being in the relationship when you don't know that there's a chemical reason, there's a psychological reason why they were unable to leave the relationship. Don't make the situation worse. You support her. And many of them come in, and that's the biggest thing. They really self-blame themselves. Like, I don't understand why I didn't leave. It caused my children to be abused. I shouldn't have went through this as long. Look at me. I work here. I do this. I do this. And now I feel stupid. I've wasted all my time. All these years that I've invested in this relationship with a person that never cared in the first place, and I was being used. I was used. I was abused, and now I'm drained. Now I'm so many years old. Now I'm this big or that big. I've lost all this weight, or I've gained all this weight. I'm not even aesthetically pleasing anymore. I'm not even pretty anymore. He's taken the best years of my life, or she's taken the best years of my life, after 18 kids, 2 kids, whatever. But this person has taken the best years of my life, or I have a physical ailment now, or, and now this person is, has left me, abandoned me to make me to have to suffer to take care of myself. All these things are running through your head. And for most women, that's exactly what's running through their head. How am I supposed to make it now? What am I supposed to do now? This was never supposed to be. My thoughts were never to be a single parent. My thoughts were never to have to do this all alone, but you have to remember that the biggest obstacles we run into in counseling is that very thing, the self-blame. And that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing to work with women, to help them to find their value, to help them to find, to help them to realize, like, what are your words and what are their words? What were you told? Excuse me, I just have this hair all in my eye. I'm sorry. Let me get it all out my face. Okay, there we go, so I can focus. But that's the biggest thing. The biggest obstacles is blaming yourself for bad decisions. We all make bad decisions. And I know some of you, yeah, but not like this. You'd be surprised how many of us are out there just many women have not come to the forefront to admit that this is what they've been going through. And every one of them that I've talked to, they've always said, I knew something wasn't right. I knew something was insidious. I knew something was more than just domestic violence. Something was wrong. I just couldn't put the words to it. I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't have a name. And then once we begin to educate you, once we became educated and had more information on what was going on, it's a sense of freedom. Like, I knew that there was, I knew something was wrong, but I feel so relieved to realize that it was never me. But a lot of questions also, why did he do this? I don't understand. Why can you do this? How can you be with me? Or how can they be with me this long and all this? And you mean to tell me and I can't? That's always what I hear. And to blame yourself. It's never been your fault. Domestic violence is never your fault. Remember that. Domestic violence is never your fault. Now, one thing that I suggest, for those of you that are following my YouTube page, those of you that are following my Facebook page that are watching these videos, one of the things that I suggest, especially if you're having the problem with the self-blame, you're blaming yourself and you really feel horrible, go back and watch these videos. Go back to my YouTube channel. If you have not already subscribed, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant with a T, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And what I want you to do is start from the very first video, and work your way up. Work your way up from the earliest videos to the most recent videos. Psychoeducation is what I use in my practice all the time. And one thing that I've noticed, we can use cognitive behavior therapy, you can use, EMDR, you can use DBT, you can use all these wonderful, proven therapeutic approaches in helping people to overcome depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress, and trauma. But the most powerful tool that I found in my clinical setting, the most powerful tool was psychoeducation, which is basically education, to provide you with some knowledge about the situation. People with post-traumatic stress, when I begin to educate them as to what is happening in their body, what is happening chemically, what is happening in their brain and their mind. Likewise, with those that have gone through domestic violence, especially narcissist abuse, to begin telling them what the perpetrator is doing and the games that they're playing, it normalizes the situation. Now, when I say normalize, I don't say that it makes it normal for them to do it. But what I'm saying is you begin to feel normal. And you begin to realize that the things that have happened to you, you're not the only one, number one, and that the perpetrator actually has a problem. And so I always say, we look at, I think it's the antisocial personality disorder. I think that was correct. I think I said it correct. But it's previously known as psychopath or sociopath disorder. Well, most of the time when you hear psychopaths and sociopaths, remember you used to hear it in court hearings, you hear it in murder cases, but psychopath, sociopath, and narcissism are all on the same playing field, all the same. And a lot of narcissists, the malignant narcissists, the very severe narcissists that are malignant narcissists, the real brutal ones, the covert ones, especially the ones that do it behind closed doors, a lot of them have either the symptoms of, the traits of, or the diagnosis of psychopath and sociopath, or antisocial personality disorder, formerly known as psychopath and sociopath. But they have those, they're on the same playing field. There are a lot of people in prison that have murdered that have narcissistic personality disorder. I believe Ted Bundy was one of them, because he knew how to play the game. It's a game. Do you wonder whether or not the narcissist knows what they're doing? They know exactly what they're doing. How do narcissists tell me? I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I just never thought I'd get caught up in the game. And when they got caught up in the game, they just moved to a new supply. So they know exactly what they're doing. They just won't take accountability, and it's crazy because they'll admit that they know what they're doing, but they won't take responsibility for the debris, the chaos that is left behind, and the damage that's been done. When you begin to present damage to a narcissist, they deflect. They'll deflect and focus on something totally different, totally out of context with what you guys are talking about in the first place. And that's a lot they do. Not the self-blaming, but they reverse the conversation. You may present some information to that narcissist. Hey, you know, I knew you were cheating because I caught you and this, that, and this. They'll totally flip the conversation around to, you know what, see, everyone said that you were very insecure. Even your mom or so-and-so said you're a very insecure and paranoid person, and, you know, you've never been in a good relationship. Remember what you told me? Remember what you, that's why I tell you that the information that you give a narcissist, intimate information about you, will be used against you. It's not used to be empathetic, because they don't have the ability to be empathetic. So it's not used to be empathetic and bond with you, you know, to know that these are sensitive items, you know, sensitive issues for you. No, they use that as as weapons against you. And they'll remind you, see, I told you you're a paranoid individual. See, you never had good relationships in the first place, and so you're categorizing me with everyone else, and see, that's what I'm talking about. You know, you're probably the one that's having the affair. That's why you're blaming me. So that projection, they project, you know, what their own traits on you. You're probably the one that's having an affair. Yeah, because I noticed you're always on your telephone too. And yeah, I noticed that you always keep your phone locked up. But you see how quick that conversation switched on you? That's how they are. So it's almost a never-ending argument when it comes to them. It doesn't matter what you have to present to them. They'll always flip the conversation back on themselves. And so, you know, I just want to talk about the blame portion, you know, but that is one of the biggest issues when you're dealing with women or men. You know, and a lot with the women that I see, you know, to blame themselves. I wasn't a good mother. I wasn't, you know, I put my kids through this. I should have left a long time ago, you know, but that's their father, that's their mother. You know, I can't believe that I stayed as long as I did, and my family told me, and now I feel like less of a woman. I feel like less of a man. I feel like, you know, I feel so stupid. You know, now people are going to look at me like I'm stupid. You know, my friends and family warned me about it, and now I can't even face them because you'd be surprised. The same, now, if you have a dysfunctional family, I get it. But you'd be surprised how supportive your family is when you just come straight out and say, you know, I was blind to the fact, you know, and now I realize, you know, this is what has happened to me. So that's why I encourage you, go look at the videos and start from the first video, which is the bottom, and work your way up. And psychoeducation is so powerful. Psychoeducation opens up the minds of people to give you a different insight and to redefine you. Because you're living off of what that abuser, what the narcissist has trained you to think, and how they've trained you to think. They wanted you to think the way that they think because they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it. And so they've isolated you from people that can provide you with some information to help you out in your situation. And these videos right here will give you some insight. And so, you know, the biggest thing right now for those of you that are blaming yourself for what has happened is not your fault. Just like I tell men and women that have been sexually molested as children, that have been raped, it was never your fault. The fault and the responsibility lies in the hand of the perpetrator. And so go back and watch these videos. Go back and get you some education. Watch these videos. It's like you've been taken. I wish I had something to show you. It's like the narcissist is taking you and wound you up really, 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 really tight around their finger. Really, really, really tight. And so my responsibility to you is to unwind you. Now, once I unwind you, you're going to have some imprints on you. You're going to have some scars that you were there. But at least you're starting to get some education. You're starting to understand some things about narcissism, narcissist abuse, and what you've been through. And to know that you're not the only person. There are hundreds and thousands of women and men that have been through this type of tragedy, there we go, tragedy, that have been through this type. But many of them are too ashamed to talk about it. There are too many that are afraid to speak up and say, yes, that's my story. But all those of you that have emailed me and shared your story with me, I am so honored. Thank you so much for trusting me with that information and finally coming forward to confess the fact that now you realize this is what I've been through, and these are the things that I've went through. You know, if you email me, I do have a high volume of emails, but if you email me, I will respond back to you. Take the time to email me at Dr. Carmen Bryant, DrCarmen, Bryant, BRYANT, at Outlook.com. You know, go to my professional Facebook page, which is Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and like the page. Please, my personal Facebook page is reserved for family and close friends. But, you know, you are welcome to go to my professional Facebook page. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Carmen Bryant, with a T, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. And begin watching those videos from the first, which is the one at the very bottom, all the way up to the current one, to the most recent one. So if you're watching this one, watch this one, then go back and go to my YouTube channel and watch all the other ones to give you some insight. Now, once you've watched all those videos, if you still have information or questions, please email me. I still have some pretty good questions. Some of these questions that I got, I believe, are also embedded in the information in the YouTube channel. So I'm going to wait for the individual that sent me the question. I'm going to wait until she finishes watching those videos to tell me if I answered those questions. But I will go and address some of those questions. They're really, really good questions. You know, take the opportunity. You know, you guys leave a comment. Let me know how these videos are helping you. Leave a comment on my YouTube channel or email me and let me know. Tell me what you're learning from these videos. Tell me what it is you've gotten out of it. Tell me if you're in a situation like this, are you beginning to notice now that you've gotten the information, are you more sensitive and aware to your environment? Do you notice what's happening to you if you're in that situation? Are you starting to notice some of the characteristics? And some of you are watching these videos and like, oh my gosh, it's like describing the individual that I'm with. They do exactly what it is that you said. Well, obviously, if I'm telling you something and it's exactly what it is that you're going through, that means you're not the only one. We're a group of survivors, and there's many of us, you know. All of us haven't stepped forward to say, I was one of those people that went through the same thing. I'm here to tell you I was, and I have personal experience with it, but I also have clinical experience with it. So I was able to put personal and clinical experience together to understand what it looks like. And then they have, you know, the testaments from, the testimonies from other people that they're emailing me, and this is exactly their story. So these are our stories. These are our stories, you know, plus the extra ones that you guys are sending me. I am so honored. Thank you guys so much for watching me. Sorry I couldn't stay on too long. I think someone said when I get sleepy, my eyes blink really slow. So I'm trying to open up my eyes really wide so that my eyelashes look really big. Well, but thank you so much. I am sleepy. But I really do. I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy the comments that you guys send me via email and even on my YouTube channel and on Facebook. It lets me know that this is helping. Hey, you know, sometimes the teacher needs to be encouraged. If a teacher is teaching something and no one is making any comments, which, well, in this case, it's not true. You guys do make comments. You know, some of them are very private, and I truly appreciate that. And I will hold your secret for life until you tell me I can talk about it. I will never tell your secrets. You know, but for some of you guys that are willing to make comments, you know, on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channels, let me know how these videos are helping you. Let me know some things that you're learning. Let me know what videos have helped you, even if I need to elaborate on some. I think someone asked me to elaborate on the trauma bonds, and I did, and it was my pleasure. I enjoy getting some more information about the oxytocin and the dopamines, you know, versus the trauma bond with the trauma that creates trauma bonds, you know. But yeah, you guys let me know, you know, give me some comments, you know, give me some feedback. Let me know how these are helping you. And once again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your support. I support of my, you know, the family and friends that I have that support me. Thank you so much. I'm so honored. And the weekend is here. I'll try to come on this weekend. If not, I'm going to sleep really, really hard, because it takes a lot. I'm going to put a face on and everything to come on. Make sure I present myself appropriately when I come. Thank you guys so much. I really enjoy this. And as my friend always says, go and be great.